Okay, let me introduce Ryan. So I've known Ryan for probably about 20 years, I think, or nearly. And during that time, he has been a very active ETJ organizer and volunteer, especially running the Tohoku Expo. So I've worked very closely with Ryan, and it's been great. And I'm also hoping that, at some point, Ryan is going to be taking over quite a few of the things I'm doing. So I have great, trust in him. And he's the owner of My English School, which has schools in Yamagata and in Osaka. And I visited his school, and it's wonderful. It's great. And so his schools, of course, are especially great because they use finding out. No, joking. And he has developed some, very good materials which can be used with finding out or independently. And he's going to talk about them today. So over to you, Ryan.
Well, thank you very much. I'll go ahead and I guess if I share my screen here, I think everyone should be able to see the PowerPoint here, I believe. I will also be showing some things with the camera, so you want to, let me.
Yeah, it's fine, right? Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to close it. My wife stepped in for just 1 second to hand me something. She neglected to close the door, and I was like, it's getting cold in here. And I realized, oh, the door's still open. So no, we're up in Yamagata, and so we're already getting in cooler weather here, and have heating on. But anyway, yeah, thank you very much. My name is Ryan Hagglund. And as David said, yeah, I run My English School, which is also called My English School. So I'm not just being arrogant when I keep referring to My English School. I'm not trying to be possessive. And we let's just going through a little bit, kind of give my show where I am here. Well, today I'll be talking about some mini cards that we have produced for our school and a workbook that we have produced. A very quick introduction to the school. We're called My English School. We have like My Business. We do business English. We do kids classes. We run in Yamagata's only immersion kindergarten. We also have a thing where we've been referring to it as My Learning. And we're working with attorneys on that. We've got a little bit of a trademark dispute on that. Right now, we're calling it My Materials, but you've seen it under My Learning before, and we will be working on that. And so, but all with the My moniker. And so, yes, My English School, My Kids is what we use for our children's classes. And we currently have about 1,200 students across 10 schools, 7 schools in Yamagata and 3 schools in Hyogo Prefecture, in the area outside of, the Hyogo area, but more outside of Osaka, in like Takarazuka, Kawanishi area. And so, yeah, those are our schools. You've got, Yamagata and Hyogo. And this is a picture of one of our schools. This is our immersion kindergarten and one of our language schools. You can see inside the school, we do the My logo, the world map. And one thing we do at our schools that this is incorporating with the finding out is we don't have desks and tables in the schools. We do a lot of child movement, and we do these floor to almost ceiling whiteboards. So the kids do a lot of writing, and they do writing in notebooks and in the home books as well, but they do a lot of writing on the whiteboards during classes. And there's enough whiteboards in each school that most students can have half a white, between 1 at least half a whiteboard, if not a whole whiteboard to themselves during each lesson. This is our staff back in 2019. We've had to wear masks, so we don't have a good staff picture since then. Hopefully we'll get a good staff picture in 2022 or 2023, this coming April. But as David mentioned, we use Finding Out. Took over the school in 2008. We had one location, about 100 students, and we took over the school in January, and just from the studies had decided that we were going to implement Finding Out as soon as possible. And starting in 2008, starting that April, we implemented Finding Out for all of our children. We had about 70 children at that time and about 30 adults. So about 70 elementary school students at that time. All 70 elementary school students switched to Finding Out 1, regardless of what age they were, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, whatever. We put all of them in Finding Out 1 that year so they could start with the progression on the phonics and on the reading and the writing. And much, not as large as David grew, but in the time since 2008, like I said, we've grown from 100 to 1,200 students, and in a much smaller prefecture than Hiroshima. Yamagata is only about 1 million people for the whole prefecture. And Finding Out has been a huge part of that growth and developing a reputation for quality education in the area. With using Finding Out, one of the things we had a couple things that we wanted to address, that we wanted to improve upon with materials. And we use a lot of the outside materials. We've used, for example, Greg's, Fun Kids English, his Fun Phonics Readers, for example, to increase the reading opportunities for students. We're going to be, later on today, Adam Cardos will be presenting, and we will be implementing his Gamerized Dictionary with our first year students starting in April. But we also wanted to increase opportunities for the children, for the students to study at home, to have some cards, mini cards that they could take home, and also to increase their level of listening practice with the reading and writing that they had when they went home. So my staff developed some extra supplementary materials that we use that we've decided to make available as well. And so I will be introducing, first thing I want to introduce are our mini cards. And if you take a look, you'll see behind me, these, we have the mini cards here on the board, and that's where we store them. What the mini cards are is, one second. I'll grab 5 of them here. We wanted, Finding Out has some wonderful flashcards, and we use the flashcards in all of our classes. Because with 10 schools, 1 to 3 classrooms in each school, I don't know how many sets of the Finding Out flashcards we own, but we own a lot. And when the students go home, they don't have something to play with, something to manipulate themselves. So we created these mini cards, and what they do is, if you look at just one card, it's pretty simple. What we do is we just have it has just the lowercase letter. We purposely only put the lowercase on here so that students can put them together more easily. And then it has the uppercase in the bottom right here. And on the top, it also shows the stroke order. You can see the stroke order there. And then on the back, it has the anchor word. And the anchor words match the Finding Out anchor words. Though the artwork is different. We used our own artwork for copyright reasons. But So what this does is, it gives the students something they can take home. And you'll notice it has a hole on the top here. So what the students can do is they get a ring. The students get a ring and they get their mini cards on it. So what we do here is, if you take a look, I'll show you some pictures here. So here's one of our students with her mini cards. And what the mini cards allow the students to do is to play games and activities while combining letters. So if I have like the A card, the apple card here, and I can just take it off the ring and do the cards. Or these are all the vowel sounds here. Let me grab some consonants. And so what allows them to do is they can play with the cards. So when they come into our school, for example, one of the first things they do after they've checked their homework, they sit down and then they play with, they play a game, or they get out their mini cards and they start saying combinations of letter sounds to each other. So a student will say ag, and you get the a, g, ag, apple, gorilla, ag, and they can put those together and ask each other, is it okay? Ah, yes, it's okay. So you can see a picture here. That's this teacher handing out the cards. You can see here, the kids are playing with the cards, setting up, and playing with the card combinations. Here you can see a group. This is the lobby time at the in the lobby where the students have gotten each of their sets together. And this student is asking, so he's got an umbrella, tiger, so and he's asking the teacher, is that okay? And they're using them together there. So what we've really found this to be helpful is it gives the children an opportunity to put the cards together. It reminds them of what the anchor words are so they can look. If they forget what the letter is, we could say, go look at your mini card. And they go look at the mini card and then that's right, igloo, so igloo. And they can put cards together. Like if I say bag, you can bag, and they can put those together. One significant feature for the teacher and for the owner of a school, I think for us in developing these cards, was we wanted something that the students could receive over time. There are many phonics cards and phonics apps out there, but many of them, the students get a whole stack of cards together. And this is what the ring looks like with all of the, we have 56 cards. All of the cards together looks like this. If students come in, they're just starting phonics. They're like, the teacher's like, bam, here are your phonics cards. That's just overwhelming. That's way too much for them. They get really nervous and scared. So what we can do is, because the cards come at not collated, not individual packs of A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, all the way to Z for each student. They come in packs of a bunch of A's together, a bunch of B's together, a bunch of C's together, that we can see in our situation. We put them up on the whiteboard, or not on a whiteboard, we put them up on a holder like this. So as you can see here, we've got a stack of apple cards together that we just have on hooks here in the classroom. Or in this case, we don't have them in the classroom. I have them in the classroom right now. Normally we'd have them in the materials room. We have them there. And what we can do is we hand the cards out when the students need them. So at the very beginning of the year, as we're using finding out, you start finding out, you start with A, pardon me, I just dropped the card there. Start out with a, and you start out with those. We just hand these 5 out to the students. Or if we do just one day, we hand out just the card. We hand them out, just those 5 to the students. Then over time, the next unit, when we cover B, when we cover B, D, G, and T, we can hand those out to the students. And then the students simply take those new cards, add them to what they have, and now they've got 5 cards on their ring. And they can play around with those. And the next unit, they add the cards to then they add the cards at the next unit. If you're receiving packs of cards where sets of A through Z and all of the double letter phonics are already there, then trying to hand them out one at a time to the students is very complicated and difficult. So in our situation, because we can hand them out just as we're doing them, it makes it much easier. It also reduced costs. So we do sell them in sets of 50. So they do need to be purchased for 50 students at a time. But when you take the cost and do it over 50 students, the total cost comes to only around 400 yen per student for the entire set of cards, and we include the rings. We include the rings with them. So anyway, they are available through ETJ Book Service, but that's something we do. The second resource we created, or well, actually, let me go through the end here. So they've got them on the ring. They can write their name on the card, and we store them like this, as you can see, like I do have behind me. And then those are the students holding up, some of our students holding up their cards. We've got, so here's some of the benefits. We can give it to students as they learn the letters. We don't have to give them all as a group. Includes the ring and the hole on the card. We purchase in packs of 50 students, and this is need to work on the slideshow a bit, and it's a very low cost per student. So that's the next thing we created is this. We created a MyPal. It says MyPal 1, and currently there's not a MyPal 2 yet, unfortunately. We've received requests. With the MyPal 1, what we wanted to do is create opportunities for the students to do even more listening and writing practice at home. So we created a workbook and created this workbook has 141 tracks of listening. It's now all done by QR code. When we first made the workbook, when we handed it out to students, we gave them CDs, and the workbook actually required 3 CDs to be handed out with it. It had that much listening homework on it that it required three CDs to fit it. And this workbook goes with Finding Out 1. So just to give some examples, like I said, it has 141 tracks of listening. It gets the expanded writing practice. It's 145 pages. So we start here, and here's the first pages, and goes to 145 pages of extra writing practice. And so here's an example. I'm going to do just some example pages, but then also some of the example reading here. So here is an example unit 1. This is the very beginning where they're actually, you know, this is page 2 and 3, where they're just doing apple. And we want them to do some listening practice, and they can do the listening, you know, the basic listening practice they can do with the Finding Out 1 CDs. And then with this as well, you can see they have a QR code. If people want a CD, we do still have CDs available, but almost no one requests CDs anymore. The listening is all available with a QR code on an iPhone or an iPad or an Android. Can read it fine. We have the QR code goes straight to the listening track, so there is no need for them to scroll through a menu and find which listening track will be correct. Go straight to the listening track, and they can listen. And here's some writing practice for, you know, stroke order, letter formation. But you'll see on the next page, it's what they're doing is they will listen to the track and it'll say like apple, and they circle the not egg. Octopus, they'll circle that, not ant. Or pardon me, it'll be ant, and they'll circle that, not the octopus. For the next page, you can see also, the next listening, it will give them, the listening will give them items to be drawing, like number 2, ants, and they have to draw an ant. Or this would, so some other listening activities you you can see on the left side of the page, the left top, the same kind of drawing activities. This is going in, this is unit 2, where they start B, C, D, G, T. And here we want them to start listening to get some differentiation. So you can see they have the stars and the picture isn't completely visible. So what's the picture? And so what we'll do here is I want you to listen. Please let me know, the sound should come through, but please let me know if you have trouble hearing. I'm going to give an example of one of the listening tracks.
Unit 2, Activity 5.
Or the top right half.
What is it? It's a bed. What is it? It's a bed.
So bed, so they should circle the B, the bed.
What is it? It's a cot. What is it? It's a cot.
So they hear cot, and then they should circle the C.
What is it? It's an elf. What is it? It's an elf. What is it? It's a tiger. What is it? It's a tiger.
And I'll go ahead and we'll do, we've got some other example ones coming through, but that will give you kind of an example of what they're doing. And so they have a tiger, the next one's a dog, and then a gorilla. And as they start getting on, you know, more difficult levels, we start trying to get some additional problems for them. For example, you can see here when they do the listening, and I have a listening track, I think, for this on a later one, but it'll be like b. And we have pages that you can download from the ETJ Book Service site that give the answer sheets. We make answer sheets available for teachers to be able to check. But so it'd be b, g, t, ab, odd, ok. And the students then draw the lines to try to go along with what they're hearing. One thing we do that's a little bit different than Finding Out. Finding Out does not do letter combinations until Unit 7. We start letter combinations from Unit 2. Once the students are able to start doing letter combinations, we start them on 2-letter combinations, even from 2, because they have vowels and consonants at that time. And we find that works well for us and allows them to then sail through units 7, 8, and 9 much more quickly. But yeah, so answer sheets are available. And so here are some more, some higher level units. You can see where from the listening, they have to try to finish the picture based on the listening they hear. So like number 5 is it's a gorilla. Number 4 is probably it's a dog, I'm guessing. I'm not actually sure. Number 2 might be it's a cat. But then they listen, they have to finish the picture. And on the top right, this one, there's no listening on this one, but this one is simply, they cross off the one that doesn't match the book. So then as we're going on, here is an example audio at the top left, an example audio of going through the puzzle to get the dog to the bone.
Unit 6, Activity 5. R, r, x, x. Is. Yos, yos. 6, 6. Rel, rel. Zod, zod.
So you can see how they work through that, and they have to try to listen and try to match those. And then next, there'll be sections now where students start reading, having to listen and write longer words.
Unit 6, Activity 10. Number 1, Rex, Rex. Number 2, Rexaws, Rexaws. Number 3, Jazz, Jazz. Number 4, Jazzic, Jazzic. Number 5, Yep, Yep. Number 6, Yepon, Yepon. Number 7, Bix, Bix. Number 8, Bixit, Bixit.
Like with finding out itself, the point here is not whether the words are real words or not, but to be playing with the language and playing with the sounds and giving them, sounds to work with like that. So, so most of these, but jazz is a real word, it would have 2 Z's, but that's not important right now at this point. We're teaching them the skill. Like David said, we're working with them on the skill of taking those sounds and playing with them. So then we also start to have crossword puzzles. So you can see like down 1 is, bucket. So we have bucket down, and 3 across would be crack. crack there. And we will have worked with them on some of the vocabulary ahead of time in meaningful situations to help them with those. The next one is, as they start going along further on, finding out itself gets into what is it. So we give them more what is it writing practice and using the shadows to try to make it a little bit, as they're trying to discover something, a little bit not so obvious. Or and here too, the meaning, you know, he's saying what is it, because she's hiding it behind her back, and she brings that out in front. It's a cup. It's a cup, a very, very big cup, but it's a cup. Then we work with the banana here. And some more what is it practice with the talking chicken. And then here again, the students are either writing or crossing out and writing based on the listening that they hear. So here's one more. We'll do an example here.
Unit 10, Activity 9. Number 1. What is it? It's an album. What is it? It's an album. Number 2. What is it? It's a clock. What is it? It's a clock. Number 3. What is it? It's a bucket. What is it? It's a bucket. Number 4. What is it? It's a desk. What is it? It's a desk. Number 5. What is it? It's a melon.
And this can also be a way that sometimes words like bucket, that we can introduce some new vocabulary in meaningful ways without having to specifically teach them. It's coming up with the picture and the word in the moment, because bucket is a word that normally doesn't show up in finding out. So can we, there we go. And here again, the pictures, you can see pictures.
Unit 15, Activity 15. Number 1. Bowl. Bowl. Number 2. Tail. Tail. Number 3. Train. Train. Number 4. Goat. Goat. Number 5.
So you can see why I am an English teacher, not an artist. And I am trying to draw on my computer screen with the computer pen. But they draw the different pictures and add, you know, and work with those.
Unit 15.
Come on, there we go. So this is just the comment we received. I have a couple other school owners who have been using these books for several years. And this was a comment we received from one other school owner who just wrote me an email, and I didn't ask for a specific recommendation. This was an email that came when requesting some more books. It simply states, you know, I hope this email finds you well. This year I started using my English PAL 1 with my new Finding Out 1. It has made a real difference, and students have made a lot better progress with class than before, I think, because they're getting a lot more of these listening and manipulating opportunities outside of class. And we're excited to see too how it works out with our first year students this coming year as we're doing this, and even add in the software that Adam is working on. So that is what we have. Yeah, so that is what we were using. So we've got the My English PAL 1, and we have the mini cards. They're both available on ETJ Book Service. If you have any questions, just send an email to mymaterials@myago.com, mymaterials@myago.com, and we can get back to you with any questions you might have. This one looks like I finished with quite a bit of time to spare. I don't know if we'll have many questions at all. I haven't seen any show up in the chat yet. But if anyone has any questions, I go ahead and take those now. I see the first question. Are we open for a franchise? And we don't currently franchise. I've been asked before, maybe in the future, but if we were to do it, I would want to be sure we were adding value to anyone that was using a franchise, that we weren't just adding a name and taking money. And so right now I would encourage, the use of David Paul's books and other supplementary materials, that a lot of them are out there. But if you have questions on what, as far as running a school or anything, I will put my email on here. And please feel free to reach out to me with any questions you have. There are other many great groups out there on how to, with people who will support you on running a school. But yeah, we may or may not want to do franchises in the future, but right now we're focused on doing the best possible education for our students. How much do we charge the parents for the cards? We actually do a yearly materials fee that encompasses all of our materials for the year. The fee currently is 7,700 yen per year per student. We're raising it to 11,000 yen beginning in April, and 16,500 yen for the first year students, the ones who will be using Adam Cardos's Gamerized Dictionary. But the ones not on the Gamerized Dictionary, starting in April, would be 11,000 a year. But that 11,000 includes all printing. It includes the Finding Out textbooks, the workbook. So we use the Finding Out home book and our workbook, and the Finding Out class book. It also includes Greg's fun phonics readers and other material, and the mini cards. So we just put it all together rather than trying to charge individually. Do the students keep their cards at the school, or do you have a problem with students losing cards? This is what, in our situation, the students take them home with them and keep them in the bags. We want them to play with the cards at home. Especially when students are having problems, we actually have a list of different activities and games that we give to the parents and to the student that they can use the cards with to help practice. Occasionally, like the other day, for some reason, a student had all their cards, but they were missing the D card. I don't know why they were missing D. They just were missing D. If they're just missing D, we go over, I just go over to the thing here, and I'll just say, okay, you're missing the D card. Here's a new D card, and we just give them the one D card. If they lose all of the cards that they have, we do charge them 550 yen for a replacement fee. If they lose only one, we're like, okay, we'll just give you the one. But if they lose all of their cards, we charge them 550 yen to replace. And it doesn't matter if they've lost only 5 of them. It doesn't matter if they've lost 20 of them. Anytime we need to replace the whole set, then we charge them 550 yen just to replace it. And the charge is more to encourage them not to lose them. because then when the parents get a charge, the parents are like, oh, we want to make sure that they don't lose them. And no, the cards are not laminated. They're on business card stock. So they have a glossy finish to them. They're not laminated, but they do have a glossy finish. And I can't remember what the thickness of the paper is, but it's not too thick, but it's not thin like just a piece of copy paper. So yeah, but yeah, they are not laminated. That was in response to Greg's question. And that is a very good, the teachers do not have a larger version of the cards. The teachers use the finding out flashcards in the classroom, but creating a larger version for teachers for combining, I mean, that would be that's one idea. But for right now, the finding out flashcards fit that need for them to use. Let's say I'm in one of our classrooms right now, and this is our bin, one set of finding out flashcards 1 through 5 fits in a container like this, and you can see they have been well loved and used. But they have the finding out flashcards. This is finding out 1, the zebra card, and so this is the finding out 1. This is a zebra. Our mini card, this is a zebra card is, where is it? I don't see here it is. And here is our mini card. This is a zebra. So the students get this zebra and the teacher would have this one. If they need to, they can cover up the big or the small one if they only want to use one size of letter. But so we haven't seen the need to create, because of the finding out flashcards already existing, we haven't seen a need to create a larger set for the teachers to have. So, but thank you. Good question. How do the students use the whiteboards? Okay, well, this is a different question. I guess this is just about the school, but sure. We've got, each classroom has the pins. So we've got black, green, red, blue, and red. And when the students come in, one of the things they ask is, may I have a black pin, please? May I have a blue pin, please? They can go over. This classroom right now has 3. I've got the cards hanging on the whiteboard. We wouldn't normally have the cards hanging on the whiteboard. That's just for the presentation. We have 3 of the whiteboards in this classroom. And then we have a partial whiteboard here, and then I'll be adding a second one there. So this classroom soon will have 5 whiteboards. And this is just whiteboard film, but they can do all kinds of things. They can write their names. And I don't know, I'm trying to hold the computer and use the whiteboard at the same time. There we go. They can write their names, or what we could do is if the teachers, one activity I might do is I might draw something, I might write here. Let me get tell me if you can't see. I'm trying. I might write, what is it? What is it? And then slowly draw a picture. What is it? What is it? Is it a car? No, it isn't. Is it a bus? No, it isn't. Is it a frog? Yes, it is. And so the students will run to their whiteboard. The students will run to their whiteboard, and they have to write on their whiteboard. They have to write, it's a frog. And then the teacher can correct, and so they do a lot of writing, drawing in response, and movement in response to what the teacher is doing in the classroom. It might, oh, thank you. It might, thank you, David, for, sorry, I'm done demonstrating now, but but you're right. Maybe I should turn off the screen. I can go ahead and I will turn off the screen share now. If you would like me to show one more time, I can do that. Was that okay? Or I wasn't planning on demonstrating the whiteboard use.
It's fine. It was a small picture, but that's fine.
So
You just have 2 or 3 more minutes, so to wrap up.
yeah, if we have videos of the students using the whiteboards. I don't have them available right now, but of just games and activities the students are doing that that I could share at another time if people are interested in use of the whiteboards. So but no, thank you very much. Who gets to clean them after? We have the students erase them. That's part of, in fact, we find especially the younger students, they want to erase them. They're like, and then they have to say, may I erase it? Because unless they ask in English if they can erase it, we won't let them erase them. So if erasing the whiteboards becomes, something like, the question was, I understand who gets to clean them afterwards was the question. And yeah, the students do. And the whiteboards, you just, when they get a little bit dirtier, just wiping them with water. Never wipe a whiteboard with alcohol. It will ruin the finish and it will make it harder to erase over time. Always wipe whiteboards with only a cloth and eraser, or if you need to use a liquid, use water. Never use a cleaner or alcohol. But yeah, most times the students just wipe them. Also the teacher, if you notice, because they're tall, the teacher can write at the top towards the top of the whiteboard. And they can write towards the top of the whiteboard things that they want that are just for them. I write all of my lesson plans at the top of the whiteboard for me to look at really quick, and the students can write on the lower sections. So I believe that pretty much puts me at time. Is that right, David?
Yes.
Okay.
1 minute, if you want.
1 minute. The last minute, everyone. This last minute question in at the last minute. So, no, thank you for everyone for listening and attending. And if you find the materials helpful, definitely please let me know.
Thank you, Ryan.